you are trying to defend yourself. And that's what he did. I seen that so many times when I was coming up in school, just like we all have, where we would see a fight break out. You got law enforcement coming to break up the fight, but then you would see fight between one of the students fighting the SO officer, and the SO officer has to defend himself. And then what goes into that, we always seen the SO officer come back the next day, going into the next week, the next month, into the next year. Turn on my light here. Okay, so this is a follow-up video to a video I did called Self-Defense Laws. The name of this video is called Self-Defense. But the last video, the video I did called Self-Defense Laws, plus goes into this video, proves my point of exactly what it was that I was saying in that video. And to all the arrogant little fuckheads that's going to see this video and say, oh, that's not true, you can defend yourself in this state and not get arrested. No, that's not true. It's obviously you don't know your laws, you don't know the new regulations. Going into, you're probably paying off the fucking cops, and you're probably running your mouth to them. And that part I will definitely be getting into this video. Today, a long-time childhood friend of mine by the name of Dante Birdsong. He turned himself in today. The system with who he worked for and the leadership of the movement that he was a part of turned his back on him today. I'm going to take off my glasses for this, because I know what's about to happen right now. Okay. He turned himself in today. My friend, he was an SO officer for E.A. Cox Middle School. He was breaking up a fight. When you're somebody in law enforcement, you're trained to do your job. And you're trained to do it with how it needs to be done. We all seen the surveillance footage. The fight that he broke up, he was doing his job. He broke up the fight. The kid who was bullying the other kid, the attacker, decided to go ahead. Once my friend came, who was doing his job, he decided to attack the SO officer. When you're an authority that works for law enforcement, and you're in a situation to where you get attacked, you are trying to defend yourself. And that's what he did. I seen that so many times when I was coming up in school, just like we all have, where we would see a fight break out. You got law enforcement coming to break up the fight, but then you would see fight between one of the students fighting the SO officer, and the SO officer has to defend himself. And then what goes into that, we always seen the SO officer come back the next day, going into the next week, the next month, into the next year, and has not lost their job. But because my friend, who was breaking up a fight, and it's his job, he's an SO officer, it's his duty to protect the school and to make sure no students get hurt. Well, the attacker attacked the SO officer, who was my friend. He defended himself. He was doing his job, trained what he was trained to do. But guess what? Even though there's footage right there that shows him defending himself by the student that chose to attack the SO officer, my friend, he gets in trouble. And now he has to turn himself in, and now he's doing time in jail. All because he was doing his job and defended himself. And that goes to show, here in the state of Tennessee, we do not have self-defense laws, which means if you defend yourself, you will get locked up. There was a fight that occurred about maybe like a month or 2 months ago. And again, the person that was being attacked, he defended himself, but you know what happened? He went to jail for defending himself while they let the attacker go. Why they let the attacker go? And this person was white. My friend, who was an SR officer who defended himself, he's black. But he gets locked up. And now he had to turn himself in this morning. Again, it doesn't matter if you're white or black. If you're in the state of Tennessee and you choose to defend yourself, you will get locked up. I offended myself several occasions. But you know what? I got locked up and I had to do time because of that. Why they let the attacker go. Now the video, me explaining self-defense laws, I will be linking that into the description in that video. Plus also the trust and money in-depth interview also at the bottom of the description, because it goes into a much more detailed story that goes into my experiences and things that I had to go through when I was fighting for my freedom in order to get out from some crooked people, because I had to defend myself. And it goes in again into detail of why I got locked up just for defending myself and why they let the attacker go. It's just like one of my ex-best friends. Me and him were walking to the bowling alley. We were walking past the gas station. This racist guy who said some shit to us. Now, my friend was white, by the way. My ex-best friend was white. You know, and I'm a colored person. But this one racist white guy in his van, he didn't like seeing that. So he called my friend a nigger lover, right? Well, the dude hopped out the van and attacked my friend who was white. My friend chose to defend himself, and even with this being captured on footage by the surveillance cameras from the gas station, they still chose to arrest my friend because he chose to defend himself, but they let the attacker go, and the attacker paid off the cops. He gave the cops some money, and me and him both seen that, and we both gave those statements. Going in on that, well, guess what? Later on, my ex-best friend will go on to do this even more. I remember when he was at a park, somebody attacked him because he had a lot of drama following him in his life. It still does, but, you know, somebody attacked him. They caught him off guard. He decided to start running, and he decided to tell his next-door neighbor, who was a cop, and told on everyone in the park, and decided now to have everyone not go back to that park and have it patrolled. So he decided to snitch, and he would do this for years to come, even now, because and there's other things that go into that. He's not a man. But, you know, that's just right there. You know, again, that's an example of what I was saying before. You know, you have those that are going to be let go because they're going to pay off cops, or they're going to run their mouth because they don't want to get arrested. While you have somebody in one hand who's defending themselves, right, out of self-defense, but still gets locked up for defending themselves. And again, here in the state of Tennessee, you cannot defend yourself. And they actually want to take those laws and spread them out throughout all the 50 states here in the U.S., where, look, we're taking away the self-defense laws where you can no longer defend yourself. I do know now in Florida they want to start taking away the self-defense laws where, again, you're able to open arm carry, defend yourself against an attacker, and shoot somebody right there on the spot, or kill them depending on if you have a gun or not, and, you know, be let go due to the circumstances of whatever would occur. And I do know now, you know, again, they want to focus on Florida, on taking away that self-defense law to where you can't defend yourself. I know they also want to work with Atlanta on doing that as well. I do know in New York, you know, it's like, you know, with New York policy, you know, it's tricky. Again, I'm not going to get all the way into that with the New York one because, you know, in some cases you can carry, in some cases you can, in some cases you can defend yourself and you can't. It's really confusing up there. But, you know, they do want to take away the self-defense laws, which is a nightmare because, again, you know, they want to take away the mind thought and the comfort of you being able to defend yourself. And it is very messed up because if, let's say, say if you have a child and your child gets attacked, and you're telling your child, look, you look to defend yourself because you don't know. You could be in a life and death situation. It's either going to be your life or theirs. And if your child defends themselves, your child's going to get locked up. The attacker's not. Or let's say if you're a home alone, like if you're just a regular person, an adult, you're home alone. Doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, 30s, or even if you're middle aged or a senior citizen, and if you're alone or not, and something happens, and you defend yourself, what do you expect to do? Your train of mind thought's going to kick in automatically. Look to defend yourself, but I can't tell you how many times that I've seen that happen to where, again, the person that defended himself, the person that got attacked in the first place, gets locked up. Again, it doesn't matter if you're white or black. I've seen it on both sides of the fences, per se. So it's not a racial thing. It's just now they want to take away comforts to where people now have to constantly look over their shoulder and be so damn paranoid because, again, they now want to take self-defense laws. Tennessee doesn't have them. So, again, if you defend yourself here in the state of Tennessee, you'll get locked up. And that just proves, my point of that. If you're a cop and you're a good cop, right? My friend, he's an SO officer. He's sheriff. He's a good guy. He defended himself. He was being attacked. He was doing his job of what he was trained to do, but he gets locked up. So, question is now, what do you do in them situations since you can't defend yourself? I guess the best thing to really do is really hold on in there and hope to hell that you live. You know what I'm saying? But when they ask for evidence, this is where, where it gets asked backwards, because they want evidence of pictures and videos of the actual event. Well, once you give them that, they like to dismiss those things. And that goes into one thing that I was talking about before, and things I've been pointing out in this channel, is that, especially in one video I did, it's going to be my last video on this channel because, on that video I'll get into that. But one thing I point out in that video, just like in several past videos, is that, when we're presented with evidence now, within the law system and when you're in court, from surveillance footage or video footage, from pictures and statements, we like to dismiss those things as fakes and turn the other cheek and saying, well, I'm not going to believe this, so I'm going to say, okay, well, this other person's guilty and this one can be set free. But when it comes to cases to where, look, without no surveillance footage of any kind or any videos or any pictures, and with absolutely no statements that's being fully chalked down and investigated, we like to go ahead and take something that isn't there and say, okay, well, this case is real, and then defend the person. That makes no sense, and I have seen that several times on several occasions, especially when it comes to myself. And again, I will link the video called Trusted Money In-Depth Interview that goes a bit more into detail about that and my fight with what I had to go through in order to clear my name. And then what also goes into what I've always been saying in this video, for us as black people, we don't give a fuck about each other because we don't like to defend and be there for each other. Again, it's not all of us, but it's a good majority of us. And my friend, he is a leader of the NAACP. And they said, look, we're going to be a spokesperson for him, help him and speak for him and fight this for him. But you know what they did? The NAACP said pretty much fuck him, threw him underneath the bus, turned his back on him, and now he's sitting in jail for defending himself. So the NAACP is just as crooked and just as bad, just like the Black Lives Matter movement, because they don't give a fuck about black people like they claim to do. They really don't. And I can't tell you how many times I've actually, have seen that. I'm 28 years old. I got 2 more years before I'm 30. So I've been around the block more than several times to know exactly what I'm talking about. Again, I am a mixed individual person. I'm a mixed race. I'm half Cherokee Indian, South African, Jamaican, Egyptian, Eskimo. And I've seen from all different sides of life, from rich, poor, middle class, and from different genres of people that they like, from hip-hop, pop, street, gothic, punk rock, people that are outcast, people that are, claim to be, or quote-unquote nerds and gamers. So I've been through many of those different walks of life, and I've made friends throughout the years of different walks like that. I have. And in some cases, you're going to have people that are going to stand for each other, and some people that ain't. And along with that, with each movements of those that came along, there's been a good majority of where they just turn the other way, turn their cheek, and threw somebody underneath the bus who you're supposed to stand for, and they don't. You see what I'm saying? So the NAACP don't give a fuck about their leaders. Just like my friend, he was a leader and a spokesperson for him here in this town. And look what happened. They decided to throw him underneath the bus, turn their backs on him, and said, well, let's move on. All because he chose to defend himself. You cannot defend yourself here in the state of Tennessee, man. You can't fucking do it. You do it, you'll get locked up. So it's not a race issue. It's a damn government law issue that's the problem. Look, I'm not a hard person to find. My place is easy to break into. You ain't gonna get out. That's been proven before. You ain't gonna fucking get out. Now, I'm not going to say what I have in my house and why I say that. But if somebody were to come in here, break in while I'm home alone, and I defend myself, and then I get the authorities involved, well, guess who the fuck they going to lock up? They going to lock up me. Oh, you chose to defend yourself? All right, I got to lock you up. This is the person that you defend yourself against? We're going to let them go and have them press charges against you. That shit happened. Alright, man. So, with this whole thing that took place, people are saying it's a race issue. It's not a race issue. It's a government law issue, is the problem. Because they're taking away self-defense laws. They want you to live in fear and uncomfortability. And have you be paranoid, look over your shoulder constantly. So again, it's not a race issue because both sides of the fence, if you're black or white, you'll get locked up, just for defending yourself here in the state of Tennessee. And if you don't, those that are fucking dumbasses, if you say, well, that's not true, I'm going to go back to what I said before. Either you're giving the cops money to save your ass, or you're ratting out on people to save your ass. And again, I've seen that. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. So again, it's not a race issue. It's a government issue. It's a government law issue. They want to take away self-defense laws. They want you to live in fear. They want you to live in uncomfortable ability of situations, if you will. And they want you to be in paranoid constantly. And they want you to slip up and say you defend yourself so they can go ahead and throw them pearly cuffs on you. You know a good majority of people that actually are doing time in jail? You know a good majority of them are actually locked up because they chose to defend themselves? Yeah. System don't tell you that. No, they don't. And ask yourself, how many people that you know that you've seen that defended themselves, but they got locked up for doing it, and why their attacker got let go? Because a good majority of you've seen that. I don't know what more else I can point out in this video, but I'm going to end it. I'm going to go ahead and get this uploaded, man, because this whole situation is bullshit. And it just goes to show when there's evidence, in front of us, we like to go ahead and dismiss it as fake.